السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وأرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه وادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين آمين يا رب العالمين. أهلا وسهلا everybody. Welcome to our Fiqh of Financial Transactions halqa, and as usual, we start with our muraja'a, our review. And الدرس الماضي, last week we covered the topic of what? As-sulh, right? We covered the topic of as-sulh. Who can tell us quickly what as-sulh is? In English, like if someone asks you like what's sulh? Okay, remediation, reconciliation, tamam. So, okay, and then we said there's two kinds, or how many kinds of sulh? Huh? I kind of mentioned it. Two kinds of sulh, right? Or two ways that sulh can be done. Anybody remember the two kinds? Yeah, so iqrar or ithbat, iqrar, like when you affirm something, okay, and inkar when you like decline something. Tamam. So somebody says, let's give an example. Somebody says, you did X, Y, Z, okay, and the person says, yes, I did. I just can't fix it right now. I can't pay it right now. So that's right, iqrar, like he confirmed it, and then they figure out how to resolve it, okay. And then the inkar, he says, what? Inkar is like denying. He's like, no, I didn't do it. But because he wants to, do islah, reconciliation, he'll pay something, or he'll do something about it. So he can. So how many times? We said there are two types: the ithbat and inkar. We just give an example now. Then we covered the second topic, which kind of related, which is حقوق الجوار, the rights of, like, the neighbors, right? Can you guys remember some of the things we discussed? What did we talk about? حقوق الجوار. Yeah, like if you want to build something, you can't just, if there's a road that is shared between you and the neighbors, you can't just build anything there and sticking out and it's bothering other people, right? We talked about, if someone's tree is like hanging over, and or he built something on top of your property and you ask him to remove it, and he doesn't remove it in time and it causes damage to you, who's responsible for that? The person who built, right? Tamam. Jamil. Naam. Ahsantum. Yeah, so we talked about those things. We talked about, building like a masraf. We talked about building like a overpass. If it's something that is shared between different neighbors, you have to consult them. We talked about a contemporary example of, the back alley. You have to consult, and everybody has to pay. The fence, right? The fence. You got a fence with your neighbor. If it's gonna fall over and it's gonna harm both of you, then you're both responsible to pay for it. And if you paid for it, okay, and can you go back to him and ask for half the price? Yes, you can, right? Because this is something that is shared between both of you, and especially if it fell off. But if it was in good condition and you just wanted a nicer one, okay, then no, maybe that's debatable. You should ask him and let him know, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. But if it like fell over, right, and you need to fix it because you want privacy or you want your safety, so you have the right to do that and go back to him. Jamil jiddan. Today we want to talk about al-hajr. Al-hajr. Wal-hajr, لغة, يعني linguistically, they say al-hajr huwa at-tadyiq wal-mana', right, constricting or preventing something. Okay, so here, what's happened here? We've been talking about like debts and loans, etc. So now you remember we kept saying about, okay, the day of the payment, and we talked about the guarantor, right, the damin, and we talked about the kafala. So now the day is coming, or there's a debt and the day is coming, and this person doesn't pay up. Okay, it's time to pay, and this person doesn't pay up. But what can the lender do? The one who actually gave the money, who lent the money, what can he do? Khalas, he's lost his money. He can't do it. What can he do? Right? One of the things that the qadi can do is al-hajr. Now let's look at the definition of al-hajr. So they say that huwa man'u al-malik من التصرف في ماله أو في ماله وذمته. So basically it's preventing the malik, the owner, right? Preventing the owner from the use or disposal of his money, right? Generally you can't do that. It's your money, you do whatever you want with it. But the ruler, the judge, the hakim has the right to do that. Just like here, they freeze your assets or whatever happens, okay? If I don't know if anybody has experienced something like this for them or against them, okay? So here, there's something similar, okay? أو في ماله وذمته, okay, or anything in his financial obligations, they can and this can happen for there's two types, okay? And I want you just kind of to have an idea, because we're going to talk about the first type first for a while, and then we're going to talk about the second type. So they say الحجر لحظ الغير, لحظ الغير, الحجر لحظ الغير. It's for somebody else's benefit. What would that be the example? What you're thinking about right now, okay? Somebody owes, let's say I'm the one who owes money, okay? So there's hajr done on me لحظ الغير, for the benefit of the one who lent me money, okay? So if you're the one that owes money, لحظ الغير, meaning this is for the benefit of the one who lent you the money, okay? So that's the first kind of hajr, okay? And then there's al-hajr لحظ النفس, for the benefit of the person himself. The hakim, okay, he will do hajr, he will freeze his money or assets for his own benefit. Can you think of why, or an example of that?
Like if someone is spending his money not wisely.
The Quran gives some examples. Surah An-Nisa. In Surah An-Nisa, وَلَا تُؤْتُوا السُّفَهَاء. So you have the sufaha, the foolish people, the people who don't know how to deal with money. You have al-yatama, the young, the one who lost his father, and then money is left behind, right? And then you have, so we have a safih. We also have the majnoon. The majnoon, the one who is insane, he might have wealth, okay? So is he allowed to just spend it like that? No, because he's not going to be spending it properly. So hajr can be done on that. So those are the people, the second category, al-mahjur لحظ النفس, for his own benefit. So the child who is not mature yet, his assets will be frozen, okay, until he's mature enough, and this is for his own benefit, right? Because is an immature child going to spend his money properly? Is he going to spend it properly? No, right? He's going to waste it on useless things, and then when he grows up, he's going to regret it. Tamam? So it's for his own benefit. Okay, same with the majnoon, same with the safih, etc. Okay, so let's start with the first one. طيب, let's read. Bismillah. He says, وَمَنْ مَالَهُ لَا يَفِيَ أو لا يفي بما عليه حالا وجب الحجر عليه بطلب بعض غرمائه. So he says here, whoever's wealth is not enough, okay, to pay what is due right now. So this is the first kind, the one that is benefit for those who have lent him money. So it says, وَمَنْ مَالُهُ لَا يَفِي بما عليه. If someone has money and it's not enough, okay, to pay what is due, حالا, it's due now, okay. You cannot do hajr on someone if it's due in 2 months. You can't go to the qadi and be like, hey, can you freeze his assets? He owes me money in 2 months. No, habibi, wait for the 2 months. You have an agreement. Okay. So حالا وجب الحجر, the hajr, the freezing of the assets, okay, becomes wajib alayhi, on this person. But the condition is بطلب بعض غرمائه, as long as some of the lenders have come to the judge. It doesn't have to be all of them. It could be like, let's say, we're talking about one person now, but let's say this person actually owes like 6 people, okay? All 6 people don't have to come and say, if only one of them came, then they will freeze his assets. Okay, hajr will take place. Okay, now when we talk about, he says here in the footnotes, this is important to know. He says, there's a hadith that's very important in this chapter. And I'm going to mention it. We usually don't go through too many hadiths, but this hadith is important. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he told us that matlul ghani dhulm. Matlul ghani dhulm. Al ghani is and we're going to talk about the three kinds of three kinds of I guess people who are indebted people. There's three kinds, and we can break them up in three kinds. One of them is al-ghani, the one who has money. So, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us that matlul ghani dhulm. Matl is delaying, someone who's delays. So, the one who has money and has a debt, him delaying is a type of dhulm, it's a type of injustice. And he's sinful for that. Okay, unless he asks permission from the lender. Okay, so.
When you say ghani, it means he has the capability to pay only, right?
نعم نعم الذي يستطيع أن يدفع أو أن يسد الدين. الغني, so he says here المدينون ثلاثة. The ones who are indebted are three kinds. He says the first one is الغني وهو, this is the wealthy one I guess, وهو من ماله بقدر دينه أو أكثر منه. Actually الغني here they describe it as someone who can pay off the full debt and he might even have more. Okay, so someone who can pay the full debt, he will be considered ghani. So this one you can actually go and ask the qadi for, if the time has come, for hajr. And then the second kind is al-muflis, right? وهو المراد غالبا في باب الحجر هو من دينه أكثر من ماله. His debt is more than what he has, right? وله أحكام أربعة. Okay, سيأتي. So that's the second kind, the one who's muflis. He has money, but it's not enough. Okay, it's not enough to pay off his debt. The third kind is al-mu'sir. Okay, وهو من لا مال له. The one who has no money أصلا. Okay, the mu'sir. Okay, so it's you're not supposed to go ask for his assets to be frozen because he doesn't have anything أصلا. Okay, فhe says here فتحرم مطالبته لقوله تعالى وإن كان ذو عسرة فنظرة إلى ميسرة. This is in Surah Al-Baqarah when it's talking about the riba, right? On the right page, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us وإن كان ذو عسرة فنظرة إلى ميسرة. Whoever is in a difficult situation, doesn't have money, فنظرة, يعني give him time. يعني give him time to pay it off. Don't go to the qadi and ruin his life. He doesn't أصلا have money. It says ويحرم أيضا حبسه والحجر عليه. So it's haram to jail that person and to do hajr on that person. So the hadith مطل الغني ظلم, this is talking, it's injustice, okay, for a person who has money to pay it off but he's delaying it. تمام, because that is the haqq of the person who gave you the money. طيب. So he says here وسنة إظهاره. It's sunnah to announce it or alert others about it. So if I owe money and the time of payment came up and hajr is done on me, then it should be mentioned to people so they know. What's the benefit of that? Why is he saying it's sunnah to do that? What's the benefit of that? What do you think the benefit of that is? Transparency, sah. Because then Brother Afzal might come to me and be like, hey man, you want to buy my car? I'll be like, yeah, sure. Add another. But he doesn't know that I'm mahjur. And someone who's mahjur, basically, let's do analogy. His credit record is what? The credit score is bad, right? We have credit scores now that tell you like this guy pays, this guy doesn't pay, right? It's the same thing. It's like the credit score. It's almost like saying that this guy is mahjur or not, right? طيب. And that's how like even like you get acceptance for like credit cards, mortgages, whatever it is, the bank loans. طيب. So he says here وسنة إظهاره ولا ينفذ تصرفه في ماله بعد الحجر. So now he's saying that if he does something with his money, it will not be valid. Yani if he now goes and he does a contract with somebody, okay, it's not going to be valid. Even though they might have agreed and signed, there's rida from both, right? All the conditions we talked about, buyu', it will not be valid. So ولا ينفذ تصرفه في ماله in his بعد الحجر, after the hajr. But whatever happened before the hajr, it's fine, okay? ولا إقراره عليه. even if he like confirmed it, okay? بل في ذمته. So they're saying now he's talking about like, what if somebody comes, or what if he says, oh, I owe this guy money, I owe this other guy money, so I have to give it to him. Or this is his car, I have to give it to him. Like he has a car in his possession. طبعا al-Hajr now, the Qadi now has frozen his stuff, his assets. So can he sell a car? No. طيب. What if he says now, oh, this car is actually, it's Adib's. Okay, I have to give it back to him. So what they're saying here, ولا إقراره عليه بل في ذمته, but يعني they will accept it, the Qadi will accept it, فيطالب بعد فك حجر. So the Qadi will say, okay, sure, but this will be dealt with after we finish with the Hajr. And after you pay these guys off, you can go and give that, whatever the car payment is, okay? Why do they do this? Because that person might be using this as a hila to save some of his money. Do you understand what I mean? Like he might be using this to escape and save some of his money. Like he'll give this car to his friend, be like, hey man, listen, they're gonna freeze my assets and sell everything. Keep this car, keep the Lamborghini, okay? And then, we'll deal with it after. So he might be trying to escape from that. Nah, so we're going to talk about that, yeah. طبعا, obviously he will need to spend on what is necessary. But the other assets that are not necessary, then it will be frozen, right? And you've seen this happen with people who they get a lot of wealth and they do like all these scams, and then they have like yachts and cars and sha'arif ish, right? The court will take possession of those things, sell it and pay off those who are owed money. But we said like the one who doesn't, then you can't ask it. طيب, let's read. Bismillah. So we said here, al-hajru lughatan at-tadyiq wal-man', right? Al-hajr means restriction and prevention, okay? And then we said shar'an منع المالك من التصرف في ماله أو في ماله وذمته. يعني it refers to preventing an owner from disposing of his own property, either in his possession or in his financial obligations. So basically it's just the person now is not allowed to spend his own wealth except what is necessary for his ضروريات, يعني his survival, okay? His حاجات يعني. So, but other than that, he's not allowed to really take it, deal with his money. We said there's two types, لحظ الغير أو لحظ النفس, right? So the two types, it is done for a person's own interest. Example, a child may spend his wealth in a destructive manner, therefore he is appointed a guardian over his wealth and prevented to do with it as he pleases until he reaches maturity, right? This is لحظ النفس, benefit for himself. The second type, it is done for someone else's interest. Example, a person who owes money to his lenders but does not have enough to pay them back. Therefore, he is restricted from spending his wealth until the debts are settled. This is done in interest of the rights owed to others, right? لحظ الغير. So the Muslim ruler or the judge is the only one that can impose this type of hajr, okay? However, he can only do so if the lenders request it. We said the lenders have to request it. Not all of them even, just one of them comes, then هذا kafi, and it has to be hal, and it has to the time, the due date has come. طيب. The debtor is of three types when lenders request the money back. We mentioned the one who does not have any money to pay back his debts, the mu'sir, right? He cannot be forced to pay it back, nor can a hold be put on his spending. Instead, he is given more time. وإن كان ذو عسرة فنظرة إلى ميسرة, right? You wait until there's maysara, there's ease for him. The second kind is one who has enough money to pay back his debts. This is the ghani, right? وَمَطْلُ الْغَنِي ظُلْمٌ. The Prophet ﷺ said that delaying of the wealthy person, his paying back his debt is a type of injustice. He will be forced to pay it back. And then the third kind, one who has money but not enough to pay back his debts. This is the muflis, right? The muflis. طبعا the muflis linguistically means what? Muflis, what's a muflis? Bankrupt, right? Okay, this guy is not really bankrupt, but technically he's minus, right? So he is, I guess you can call him bankrupt. طبعا the famous hadith al-muflis, right? But that's talking about the akhir. So if some or all of his lenders request a hold on his wealth, then he will be prevented from spending his remaining wealth by the Muslim. The hajr will be done by the Muslim ruler. The example here, a person owes debts to different lenders in the amount of $1,000, but he only has $500 in the bank. So this person, if I ask you, categorize him, you would say he's a muflis. He owes 1,000, but he only has 500. That means his final account is minus 500, right? Yani, he owes 1,000 and he only has 500. If some or all of his lenders request a hold on his wealth, then he will have a hold put on his spending, and 50% of their loans will be returned from his wealth, because that is all he has in the bank, right? This the whole point of al-Hajr is that these lenders, now they're like, okay, well, we need our money back, and at least they'll be able to get some of it back. Okay, so this guy, the muflis, okay, Hajr will be done on him, and these guys, they were supposed to get, let's say, whatever, $1,000 back, but they only got 500. It's better than nothing. Does he still owe them? He still owes them the money. He still owes them the money.
Excuse me, and this applies to the properties as well?
Does this apply to properties? So explain.
Like if he owns a house or a piece of land or something, like
Yeah, anything that the qadi will consider is not daruri. Yani, let's say he lives in a mansion with 18 bathrooms, and he's a family of 2. He's going to be like, okay, we have to sell your house. We'll give you time. Go find a house that is enough sufficient for you. Okay, that we consider sufficient. And 4 bedrooms or something, 3 bedrooms. Okay, and then we'll sell that, and then we'll pay off those people. Now, if he has assets that are less, and he can sell those and pay off, then ما في مشكلة. They will negotiate that. Tamam. But yeah, of course, any property that he has, it will up to the hakim, to the judge, to the ruler to do that. طيب. We also covered, it is recommended to alert the people, right? وَيُسَنُّ إِظْهَارُهُ, the people, about the one who has hajr enacted upon him, so that they may know about his situation and deal with him with foresight, right? Because what's going to happen is, he needs to know, like, would you deal with someone who's mahjur? You would think twice. Aslan, you can't, because he doesn't have control of his money, right? So he might be scamming you as well. So you need to know that this person is mahjur. It's almost like asking for a credit score here. That's kind of the analogy here, right? And renters do that now, right? Like now, a lot of renters, they'll be like, I have to check your credit score. If they charge you, or you can give them your credit score, and they're like, oh, okay, khalas, no, we have bad score. You don't pay your bills. Fadl.
If he's under hajr, then how can he even make different transactions?
He can't. Like he will only be able to do the basics. The qadi will find a way for him. Yani, مثلا, your question is, how will he be able to do any financial transactions?
Yeah, like business transactions anyway. So why would the ruler recommend it to alert this new person?
No, because he might do it like cash or something like that, or he might be like, you're saying, why? How does it help to alert others that he's mahjur? Well, if I'm mahjur, okay, if I've been financially restricted, okay, and you come to me, and I see a car online, and I see your car, okay, and I'm like, hey, Adib, I like your car. Oh, okay, sure. And then you come, and I'll be like, hey, how much is the car? 5,000. Okay. Okay, can I buy it for 6,000? I'll give you the money in 2 months. You're like, yeah, sure, man. Khalas. So now I've got the car, and now I have fi dhimmati, I have a debt of $6,000. You didn't know that I'm mahjur. Had you known that I was mahjur, you wouldn't have done that.
But if they're restricting the spending, the qadi is restricting the spending.
Yeah, but you can still make promises. That's why fi dhimmati, they talk about dhimma. Dhimma is like when you put it on your neck. It's like an obligation. So even though I'm not giving you money, but I'm taking your asset, I'm making a transaction. You can make a transaction, but you don't necessarily have to do the payment.
But isn't part of the
Yeah, but like you're
you can't take on more debt.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. But you can do transactions without even possessing your own wealth. How? Debt. Like buying with delayed payment. Do you understand what I mean? Can't I buy something with delayed payments?
No, I assume.
Now people, if you go now to go to buy a car, let's say it's 0%, okay? Why is the first thing they do is they check your credit score? Because you could be some broke guy, okay, you just and you'll tell them, I'll pay you the payments. You take the car, khalas, you're gone to Mexico, I don't know, whatever, right? So they need to know. They need to know that you have, it's the same thing. Me knowing that you are mahjur it tells me that you are not capable of making payments. That's it. Make sense? So then now he says, the one who has hajar enacted upon him, okay, al-mahjur, cannot deal with his wealth as he pleases. Therefore, if he were to buy, sell unnecessary things, then the transaction will be considered invalid. We said that, right? So even if he makes transaction and there's a contract and there's signatures, it's batil. It's invalid because he's mahjur. So if we did that transaction and you went to the qadi, you can be like, yeah, he can be like, yeah, of course, take your car back, and if there's any damage on the car, he's responsible for it, right? And the transaction was not even valid. If the one who has hajar enacted upon him purchases something that is not a necessity, right? This is regarding the question you mentioned, but claims that is not for him, but for somebody else, right? This is when we were talking about even iqrarihi, yani. He gets something, and then he's like, oh, it's not for me, it's for somebody else that I owe, okay? Then his claim will not be accepted because there is a possibility that he is trying to trick his way out of the legal restriction. You know, he's trying to hide his Lamborghini, he's trying to hide his property. Instead, the item that he bought will be sold and its price distributed among its lenders, right? The hajr will still take place. And the person he claims to have bought it for, okay, will be added to his list of lenders. Yeah, and the qadi will say, okay, khalas, you owe this person, but he will be paid after this hajr is done. So his claim is taken as a confession that he has another person to whom he now owes something. Once the hajr is lifted from him by the Muslim ruler, the new added lender can request his right. Okay, because this is a claimed, it's a confession. It's not like the lender came. This is a confession from him. So if the lender came, we're going to talk about it. If another lender came, there's 5 lenders, okay, they all are requesting their money, and the money is distributed, then a 6th one came, then we'll talk about what happens with that. It's coming up. Okay, I think we're... It says here, وَمَنْ سَلَّمَهُ عَيْنَ مَالٍ جَاهِلَ الْحَجْرِ أَخَذَهَا. So this is what we're talking about now. Whoever gives him something, okay, جَاهِلَ, يعني he's ignorant of the hajr. He doesn't know that this guy is mahjur. He doesn't know this guy's credit score is like 0. Okay, جَاهِلَ الْحَجْرِ أَخَذَهَا, يعني he takes it back, okay. Because we have a hadith here, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, "Man adraka mata'ahu 'inda rajulin qad aflasa, fahuwa ahaqqu bihi." Okay, yani whoever finds his stuff or his material or his possession, okay, with a person who's muflis, yani he's bankrupt, fahuwa ahaqqu bihi. He has the right to take it, yani it's his. Okay, so that's why he says here, أخذها, yani he takes it. Okay, إن كانت بحالها وعوضها كله باق ولم يتعلق بها حق للغير. So here he mentions conditions. The conditions for him to take it back. Okay. So he says here أن يكون. So yeah, the first condition is that he is جاهل بالحجر. Okay, but if he knew about the hajar, you know, and he's like whatever, then no, he doesn't have. If there's some damage on it, then he has no right to ask for it. And then he says the second condition, the second الشرط الثاني, أن تكون العين بحالها بأن لا تنقص صفاتها. So as long as the item is still in the same condition, and it's not damaged, or he didn't take any part of it, or he didn't like devour, or I don't know, maybe it's a sheep he slaughtered it or something. Okay. وعوضها كل باق, and the money that the person took for it is still there. واضح? Okay. ولم يتعلق بها حق للغير, and there's nothing that is for somebody, it's a right for somebody else. Then if these conditions are met, then he can take it back. Let's read about this. He says, whoever sold something to a person who has hajar enacted upon him out of ignorance, but has not yet received a payment for it, then after learning about the hajar upon him, he may take it back provided the following 3 conditions. So the first condition, the item has not changed in any way and is exactly as it was when sold. Okay, so the car, مثلا I took the car, you didn't know it was mahjur, now you found out, okay, you can take it back as long as it's still the same. Its complete payment is still yet to be received. So here the Hanabila, they say, if part of the payment was made, then you just have to, now you'll be included with the other lenders, okay, and then you will get paid back with them, Okay, because now khalas, he's made an actual commitment to the payment, he's paid you part of it, okay, then he cannot, so now you can't take back the item. The item is not somehow connected with somebody else's right, meaning the buyer has not sold it off to someone else. Yani let's say مثلا now he sold me the car, and now مثلا I put it as collateral, or I sold it to somebody else, so then it's hard for him to take it back. So meaning the buyer has not sold it off to someone else, nor someone is using it as collateral, because in those cases the right will now be connected to someone else. If the person is in such a case knew that the buyer has hajar enacted upon him before selling the item to him, then he cannot retrieve his item back. So he's saying that you have to have been ignorant. How can you prove that? طبعا he will take an oath, he will take a yameen, but if he knew, then he cannot take his item back. So now he says, وَيَبِيعُ حَاكِمٌ. So the hakim, the ruler, will sell. وَيَبِيعُ حَاكِمٌ مَالَهُ وَيَقْسِمُهُ عَلَى غُرَمَائِهِ. When you hear the word غُرَمَاء, think of the lenders. The غُرَمَاء, okay, are the lenders. So the hakim now, what's he going to do? He's going to sell, okay, وَيَبِيعُ حَاكِمٌ مَالَهُ وَيَقْسِمُهُ عَلَى غُرَمَائِهِ. So now he's going to sell his property, and he will divide it with the lenders that are owed the money. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَقْدِرْ عَلَى وَفَاءِ شَيْءٍ مِنْ دَيْنِهِ, okay, أو هو, and this is the mu'sir, right? The mu'sir who cannot pay anything. Whoever, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَقْدِرْ عَلى وَفَاءِ شَيْءٍ مِنْ دَيْنِهِ, whoever can't pay anything from his money, who's the mu'sir, remember, the one who's like totally broke. أو هو مؤجل تحرم مطالبته وحبسه وكذا ملازمته. Right? We talked about this person who's mu'sir, he can't pay any of it back. Okay, he owes $10,000, but he can't pay any of it back. He has nothing. He's broke. Then it's not allowed to go do hajar on him or jail him or keep following up with him. Rather, you give him time. So the one who has hajar enacted upon him, the Muslim ruler sells all of his property and distributes it among his lenders. He sells everything that has value and distributes it in proportion. طبعا we're talking about the person who has some of the money. What did we call him? The muflis, right? The muflis, he has some property, okay, and now we do, he will sell all whatever he has, and then he'll pay off those who are owed the money. طبعا, is it going to be enough? It's not going to be enough, because we said muflis doesn't have enough to pay. Okay, the ghani is treated differently. The ghani, we see what can we sell from his properties. Okay, and then we will pay the ghurama, the lenders. Then he says, so what should be done about the one who has no ability to pay anything? The mu'sir, right? What happens to the mu'sir? We cannot request it from him, nor jail him for it. Instead, he is given more time. فَنَظِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ, because of the verse. He should also not be pursued constantly with annoyance. You shouldn't keep bothering him. You give him time. This same ruling also applies with the lender who lent money on deferment. Okay, lender must honor his contract. He can only demand it after the term is over. And you cannot come 3 months before it's due and you ask. The borrower is not responsible to pay it back before the terms end. Example, if a lender lends money to someone and says he can pay him back after 6 months, so then he cannot request his money back before that period. We said that. So you are owed money in 6 months. Respect the contract. Wait until the 6 months come. Okay. Taban, he's going to talk about like, what if the person becomes like bankrupt? Okay, or what if something like death takes place? What do you guys think? The person dies. Huh? You take from the inheritance. Unconditionally. Huh? So he says here, ولا يحل مؤجل بفلس ولا بموت إن وثق الورثة برهن محرز أو كفيل مليء. So he says here, the payment is not made for the falas, for the bankruptcy or for death. So for death, you guys were saying that without any condition. No, there is condition. They say here, let's say somebody died. Okay, somebody died and he still owed money. He owed money in 6 months. Okay, 3 months passed, and la qaddar Allah, he passes away. There's 3 months left. So now they say they can tell the lender, listen, you'll be paid back, but with conditions. In wathaqa al-warathatu, the waratha are the inheritance, if they can confirm a rahan. What's a rahan? We've covered rahan. Collateral. If they can put collateral, muhraz. برهن محرز. ايش يعني محرز؟ محرز يعني it's present, موجود. Not like, oh, we're supposed to get something in 5 months. No, it's there. محرز. Okay. So if you can put a collateral, okay, so that the person who's owed money, they can be like, okay, خلاص, no, I'll wait the 3 months. Okay. أو كفيل مليء. Remember the kafil? The guarantor, right? But he has to be مليء. مليء يعني he has money. Okay, someone who a guarantor that has money. So if they can confirm one of those two, then they can wait until the actual due date. Okay, even though the borrower is dead, right? Even though the borrower is dead, so they can actually delay it. But if they can't guarantee any of that, then the lender has the right to take it from the inheritance. Okay, from the inheritance after the kafan. After the kafan is done, then he can go get his payment. تمام. تفضل.
The numbers here is valuable item, right? Valuable item or somebody who has a will.
لا, المحرز is something that is يعني موجود, يعني ظاهر in front of you. هذا المحرز.
So it's not the valuable items that cover the.
No, the rahan has to be enough to cover. You cannot put a box of tissues, and the guy is owed $20,000. It says it has to be a rahan that is, يعني it's enough to cover in case they don't actually pay back. Because this guy could in his inheritance, he could have enough for all those lenders. They have the right to take the money, okay? But at the same time, the contract is not, the due date is not there yet. Do you understand what the fairness here? So these guys are owed money. The money is available in the inheritance, okay? But from the angle of the inheritors, okay, they're saying, well, there's still 3 months left until the due date, okay? And we can guarantee you're going to get paid, okay, by putting a collateral or getting a guarantor who will guarantee that you get your money in the 3 months when it's due. Does that make sense? طيب.
After they take his asset, it's gonna be Mu'sar, right? So the rest gonna be delayed in this case.
Yeah, the hijr will be removed, okay, and the person now is like back to normal, but he still owes those money.
He's Mu'sar now.
Yeah, he's mu'sar. He's basically given time to kind of recover, and get money again. But it's still on his. He still owes that money. Does that make sense? But how did this benefit the lenders? Is that they at least got some of their money when it was due. Does that make sense? But so the deferred debt cannot be requested in the following 2 cases, meaning the lender cannot request early payment because of it. So we said one who has gone or possibly may go bankrupt. So this is where he says, وَلَا يَحِلُّ مُؤَجَّلٌ بِفَلَسٍ. So someone who's about to get bankrupt, okay? So let's say I'm mahjur, I have a debt to Adib. We agreed in 6 months. 3 months have gone. In the 3rd month now, I have 3 months left, right? In the 3rd month now, I become bankrupt. I'm muflis, okay? And Adib finds out somehow, okay? So now he worries. He's worried, okay? So can he go do hajr on me? Can he go to the hakim and be like, hajr, I need my money right now, okay? Can he do that? So that's what he's talking about here, right? It says, the example, a lender lends 1,000 to Ahmed and agrees to have it paid back to him after 1 year. Then after 3 months, Ahmed goes bankrupt. The lender in this case cannot come to Ahmed, so Adib can't come to me and demand his money back just because Ahmed went bankrupt, okay? He has to honor the contract and let the remaining term pass by before requesting the payment, okay? Why? Because we agreed on the time and, I went bankrupt, but I'll recover, okay? maybe I will recover and have even more money. You can't go ask for a hajar, and the hajar will not even benefit you aslan. Okay, it will not really benefit you. The same rule applies to a lender. وطبعا you might be harming him aslan. How can you be harming him? Because the muflis, we said the muflis can be someone who has the money, but I don't have his 1,000 or his 6,000, whatever. We said 6,000. So I might have 3,000, and now you're going to impose a hajar on me. It's going to limit my access to many things. Maybe I could have done some tijara, some business, and made more money, right? So and we agreed on a longer period. So you don't have a right to come, ruin my financial capabilities because you're impatient or you're worried. Tamam? You should have the sabr to wait for the payment. The same rule applies to a lender who suspects that the one who lent money might go bankrupt by the time his debt is due. Even if he's like, oh, this guy Hamza, his business is going down, I can see it. No, still, you should wait and wait for your time. And then we talked about the one who dies, right? If the debtor dies before its time is due and the inheritors assure the payment of debt via either putting a sufficient collateral in place or putting a wealthy guarantor to assure the lender that he will pay it if they are unable, the guarantor must be both reliable and financially capable. We said he has to be mali. Okay? Then it's okay. Okay? It's okay for him to wait. So example, a lender lends 1,000 to Ahmed to be paid back after 1 year. However, Ahmed dies after 6 months. How much time is left? 6 months, okay? Technically, the lender can now request his money back from his inheritance. However, if Ahmed's inheritors assure him that they will pay it back once the term is over, which is 6 months after, by putting in place either a collateral or a wealthy guarantor, in this case, the lender must wait and cannot request it now. If they cannot assure it in one of the two ways mentioned above, then it must be paid now, even if the term has not ended. Yeah, this is the only case that we discussed that you can get your money paid before your term has come. Okay? So the only way you can get your money back before the term has come is if someone dies and his inheritors cannot guarantee that you'll be paid back. Does that make sense? Tamam? طيب. And then he says here, وَإِنْ ظَهَرَ غَرِيمٌ بَعْدَ الْقِسْمَةِ. Al-gharim is a lender. وَإِنْ ظَهَرَ غَرِيمٌ بَعْدَ الْقِسْمَةِ. Al-qisma is the distribution. Okay? رَجَعَ عَلَى الْغُرَمَاءِ بِقِسْطِهِ. So he's saying here, I'm the mahjur, I owe مثلا, Adib and Sa'ad, money. I owe them, whatever, $20,000, and the hajar has been done on me, and now the qadi has sold some of my assets and he's paying them back. He's paid them back, okay? Oh, then all of a sudden, somebody comes and says, oh, me too. And he proves it. He owes me money too. So what happens now? He says, now this guy goes to Adib and Sa'ad and he takes his share. What do you mean his share? Well, we take the amount they were given, okay, and we divide it by 3, and you figure out the share, depending on how much he was owed. But he takes his percentage depending on how much is left. Tamam? So let's read that. So if another lender appeared after distribution had been completed by the Muslim ruler among the lenders through hajar, then this new lender will take his share from the other lenders in proportion to what he is owed. Okay? So the example here, Ahmed owes $20,000 to 5 lenders for a total of how much? 100,000. So Ahmed owes 20,000 to 5 lenders, 5 people. Okay? Each one of them 20,000. The total is 100,000. The money is due now for all of them, but he only has 50,000. What is he, by the way? He's a muflis, right? He's a muflis. He only has half of what he owes. Okay? So he only has $50,000. That's 50% in the bank. Thus his lenders request a hajar on him by the Muslim ruler. Then the ruler takes his 50,000 and distributes it among his lenders by giving them 10,000 each. Remember, there was 5. They're supposed to get 20, but Miskin Ahmed only has half of that. So they're given 10,000 each. Okay? Tamam? Where are we? Yeah. Which is 50% of. After a month, a new lender appears and claims that he too was owed from the distribution, and he also lent Ahmed 20,000. This is just for easy math, yani. So the total owed now is how much? 120,000. Okay. So now what happens after these people got their 10,000? The 6th person is going to go to the 5 Okay, and then they're gonna take that total and divide it by 6. Okay, so it's gonna end up being like 8,000 something. I think I did the math somewhere here. Yeah. So how will it be distributed among them now with this new lender? Counting this new lender, the total amount owed by Ahmed is actually 120,000. Since he only had 50,000, okay, of what he owed to his lenders in the bank, this means that all lenders should have received 41% of his debt, which is 8,334. Okay, so each person will get 8,334. This new lender will now go to the 5 lenders and request 1,600, okay, so 680 from each to complete his owed 8,000. طبعا you might be asking, I know the question you're asking, are they going to give it to him? Is that the question you're thinking? Oh, on splitwise, yeah. So too much money on splitwise. طبعا they can go to the Qadi obviously and request it, request the money. So only the Muslim authority can release the Hajr. So you might ask, the Hajr, who can take it off? Only the Qadi or the Hakim. It should be released as soon as the debt is paid. Okay, even if not completely. We said the whole point of Hajr is to get some of their money back. Because you might say, well, what's the point of Hajr? And we're going to stop here, inshallah. We say the point of Hajr, if there was no Hajr, what would happen? This guy, this borrower, okay, he would delay it longer, okay, and the 50,000, whatever. Let's say he had 50,000 in the bank and he owes 100,000. The 50,000 he will go even spend it and waste all of it. So it's fairer now to give those people who are owed now, and then he can get the rest later. And also he will be more willing to save now. If he doesn't have any savings, okay, in the bank, then he will be more careful with his money, if that makes more sense. And then he'll know that if I don't do it, then the Qadi will freeze my asses, will do Hajr on me. تفضل.
After removing the Hajr, let's say the person start to make money now. When they gonna take the money back? Is it like immediately?
I think this goes back to the Hakim, to the Qadi. I think the Qadi will find a proper way to do that. Like he will give him time. Maybe he will give him. The Hakim is given leniency here, so he might say, مثلا, in 6 months, okay, we're going to reassess your financial situation, okay, and then we might, or مثلا, he might do a deal with the lenders, and he'll be like, I should be able to make this much in this much time. Can I pay you guys, another 500 for the next every month until it's done? And if I don't pay you back this little amount, monthly payments maybe, then we'll go back to the Qadi, and he might even do another Hajr, right? Depending, it will depend on a base. Yani. Yeah, because now remember, he's become the Hajr has made him from a muflis to a mu'sar. So now the mu'sar, you have to give him another, and you have to wait for him. تفضل.
In modern times, you have something like common shares, which seems like this one.
Common shares.
Common shares are preferred shares.
Okay.
Preferred shares are like, this is for ownership, but whenever this asset is getting liquidated, the person with, let's say I have this many shares, 1,000, 2,000, and they are preferred shares, and everyone else has common shares. So when this asset gets liquidated or turns into money, so I will be the first one to get all my money. Then whatever is left is distributed among the common shares. So we have that concept in Islam.
But the preferred share is worth more than the common share, I'm guessing. صح?
It depends. Sometimes when you have a startup, let's say.
You're saying that these so the preferred shares, the ones who have preferred shares, you're talking about like in the stock market, the people who have preferred shares.
It could be stock market. It could be.
They get paid first.
It could be even the banks when they pay mortgages for houses, and then when they get liquidated, they go into the house, become part owner with preferred shares.
Okay.
That's why they take all the money. Then whatever is left is given to the house owner.
Oh, okay, I see. Oh, interesting.
But do we have that in?
I'm not sure, wallah. I'm trying to understand exactly. So once it's sold, there's those who have preferred shares. They get their share first.
Yes.
Okay.
So all the money, let's say the house is sold for 50K.
Mm-hmm. So house is sold for 50K. Okay.
And you have 50K worth of preferred shares, and I have 20K worth of common shares.
So the preferred shares will get the 50.
That's nothing for me.
I'm not sure. That's interesting. So.
Shares in this case is not wrong, right?
But the lenders will become owner of the asset, half of an owner of the asset when it gets liquidated.
But this is
Yeah.
written in the contract, right?
Yes.
What he's saying is you have an asset, or you have whatever it is, a company or whatever it is. Okay, it has it's been put on the market, and shares have been sold, and there's different kind of shares. Some shares have priority, preferred shares, and there's common shares. Okay, and so it could be, let's say that this asset is sold, and let's say that the preferred shares, or the amount of money that it's sold for only cover the preferred shares. So the people with the preferred shares will get their money, and the ones with the common shares will not get anything. Tamam? And this is written in the contract. I'm trying to understand this, your
Normally
it's just I mean, it's a condition in the contract for profit loss, right? Basically, that's what it is.
Exactly. I will be paid first if yeah.
I'm not sure actually. I need to look into that a lot more,
Then that's not
because I'm not sure if this condition would be valid.
exactly, that's the question.
Because this condition is saying that in the event that the asset, the price of the asset does not cover all the shares, then I might get less than my actual share. Yeah, it will not be broken equally, basically.
Covers it, I will pay first. Whatever is left, then it's distributed among the house.
And obviously, these shares are more expensive, the preferred shares. It makes more sense.
every party knows, and it's clear in the contract.
Wallahi, this is the first time I don't know about these. I'm gonna look it up, inshallah.
Since you preferred shares are not allowed.
Huh?
Since preferred shares are not allowed in Islam.
Here?
It says they're not
Where in? Okay.
because it makes it like fair, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It sounds like the condition is shart here, the shart in the aqd. It doesn't sound like it's Sharia compliant.
It's like a loan,
Hmm?
kind of a loan. Sometimes they have.
No, because remember we talked about, actually when we get to sharika in about 3 weeks, okay, you cannot put a condition when you are doing a partnership. You cannot put a condition that if we lose, I don't lose, and if we win, I will win. Tamam? So this could be a similar kind of condition, because you're saying, the condition is that these guys will always get their money first, and you will get second,
Yeah, that's what it is.
right? So I'm not sure if this is a valid condition, but he's saying the quick look up in Google says not allowed. I'm going to look into it, inshallah, maybe ask Sheikh Hassan as well.
Every party agrees on that.
But Inta, you're saying that the fact that people agree on an invalid condition, then it makes it valid. But no, but that's not the case. يعني انت هلا if I put a condition in a contract that is invalid shar'an, does that make it valid? No, it doesn't make it valid, right? There's still dhulm in the contract. So I can look it up, inshallah, and it's a good question. Jazakallah khair. We're actually going to stop here. What we have left in the hajar is we're going to talk about al-mahjur lihaddihi. We're going to talk about the saghir, right? The young, the one who's not mature, the majnoon, like the insane person, the safih, and also we're going to talk about these people who's allowed to take care of their estate. Who can do it? The father? Is it the uncle? Is it whoever? Is it the government? So we're going to talk about that, inshallah, next week, and then after that we'll get into the wakala, into agency contracts, inshallah. Let's if there's any more questions, tafadhal.
So for this case, our brother's talking about. So my point, if you know it's unfair, don't go in this type of contract.
Ahsant, yeah, I mean, if this contract is invalid, it's not halal for you to actually buy that stock, right? So That's why you have to do your due diligence and look up يعني if there's any يعني conditions, right? والمشكلة in some of these, like the contracts are in small font and 200 pages.
A real loan in this case, like
Hmm?
it's investment, right? It's just.
How is that a loan? It's not a loan.
It's not a loan. That's
It
why.
could be a loan, it could be an investment.
Mm.
It could be partnership also.
Hmm?
It could be partnership.
Partnership type.
It could be ownership. Partnership.
Yeah, so I talked about the partnership. You cannot put a condition that you don't lose.
So
Or you cannot put a condition that I will get my profits first. Like you can't do that. Like you can't, in a musharaka, it's like let's say it's 50-50. If there's a profit, طبعاً we'll talk about it when we get there, but you will agree on a term where you can dissolve, get your profits, and move on, or do another term, but you keep the same, profit for each person. So you can't put a condition that, I'll get my profits first in case of, when we sell, because that's unfair. How's that fair? I tell you. And who is going to accept that? That's dhulm, right?
almost all startups and every house owner that's taking a loan accepts that.
Except that term. You said, say that one more time. Every house.
Everyone who takes a mortgage in a regular bank accepts that because in term of default, then
Yeah, that's one of the problems with mortgages.
as part owner, and they come in as a preferred share owner,
Hmm.
the bank.
So, yeah, because in mortgages, the condition is that if it defaults, they take the property, صح?
With preferred share.
Yeah.
They will sell it, they take the money and give you the rest.
Hmm.
If there is any.
And anyone who starts a startup, most of the time the investors are asking for preferred shares.
In startups.
Very common form of financing nowadays.
Hmm.
Yeah, especially for this.
For startups usually have preferred shares.
Even big companies.
Allah, it's interesting mas'ala. I'd like to, inshallah, look into it and we'll bring it up, inshallah, next week. Any other questions? تفضل.
Regarding the lender that comes after
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
Hajj has been completed and given away, what if the person who's received the money is now owing the next lender, the new lender who came in, but they already spent the money? Are they now in debt to the new lender who came in?
Ahsant. Because hear his question. So they're saying, we said, let's say the example where there was 5 lenders, the hajr has been done on the debtor, and the qadi now has distributed the money for those 5 people. The 6th person comes and he says, I paid the same amount. Okay. So now we said that he needs to go to the 5 and get his share. Okay. Do the math. He said, what if those guys spent the money? What do you guys think?
It's gonna be a loan for them, right?
Huh?
It's gonna be loan for them. Like
But in reality, they will not pay back. They say, like, he owed me 20,000, I put 10,000 on you.
Yeah, I'm trying to be practical. I don't know the actual answer for the question. I want to see what يعني
It will be very complicated. They will never pay back.
yeah, because think about it. They're gonna say it's my money. I'm not taking your money. طبعا يعني I think here what would happen is they would have to go to the hakim, the judge, and the judge will figure out what to do. I don't know. In this, there's many ways you can go about it. Because like if one of them spent it and the other 4 didn't spend it, yeah, I'm not sure. It's a good question.
Hakim might give him preferred shares.
Huh? Preferred shares, yeah. No, I mean, I guess he will be prioritized maybe in the payment of the next one, or yeah, I'm not sure. Allah alam. تفضل.
I was just going to share with you that in the Canadian law, if this were to happen, then you would have a process which would include a financial disclosure, where every person who says that I've already spent my money would have to prove that they've spent it and they do not have that $1,666 that they would give up. They would have to prove that first, and then after that proof, then the judge would get to decide if they get priority on the next payment.
So they'd have to prove it, obviously, yeah. Okay. So that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of things will be left to the hakim. He needs to see what's going to be the easiest to do in this case, and case by case, he will figure it out, inshallah. Yeah. these things can be very different, very complicated. But the hakam will do it, and whatever he judges, they have to go by. Wallahu a'lam. Any other questions? So inshallah next week we'll talk about al-mahjur lihadhihi, and then the ones who are allowed to take care of their wealth. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.